And good evening once more, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to episode 80 of a Druids Dozen. My name's John, I am the Druids Dozen. Now I've been a record collector for many years and I'm also a bit of a radio DJ. Could do a couple of radio shows. There's the Sunday Rock Show on BCFM, 93.2 FM in the Bristol, UK area. And then there's the Rock Druid on Astro Radio, a international internet station based on heavy rock and astronomy. Great combination. Anyway, finger dance time. There's details going to be down there and over there, depending whether you're on YouTube or Facebook to have a look at. And yeah, basically this is me raiding my record collection, dragging some records and CDs out and chatting about them. Yep, I said CDs because we're on back to albums this week. We've done a couple of weeks of singles of various formats, but back to the old LPs. So without further ado, I shall press on and jump in with this one. Symbol of Salvation by Armoured Saint, 1991. I should have a look. '91, yes, spot on. Anyway, there's the front. There's the back. Pull this out. There's Armoured Saint themselves. And lyrics there. Now, this, I think it's Armoured Saint's fourth, fifth, maybe the sixth album, maybe. Always have been a massive Armoured Saint fan. You know, their Delirious Nomad albums are definitely in my top 10 greatest metal albums of all time. And this is an interesting album because it's unlike anything else Armoured Saint have ever done before or since. This is Armoured Saint kind of taking a bit of a leaf from bands like Faith No More and taking on a bit of the old thrash kind of influence. Yeah, the earlier Armoured Saint albums very much in the kind of mainstream metal, you know, Priest, Maiden, Queensryche vein. But here they kind of letting it a bit loose, going a bit heavier, rawer, funkier almost, and it's a pretty good record overall. Not my favourite one because, you know, I prefer Armoured Saint doing the old mainstream stuff, but it's got some interesting tracks on here. Tribal Dance, for example, Pure Faith No More, kind of heavy, kind of interspersed drumming. Warzone, Hanging Judge, Symbol of Salvation, Dropping Like Flies, all great tracks. And yeah, it makes for an interesting listen. It's John Bush, great vocalist. Not a big fan of his work with Anthrax, but yeah, with Armoured Saint you could do no wrong. Joey Vera on guitar, etc. It's the classics Armoured Saint lineup. Yeah, nothing much more to say about this other than it's a great Armoured Saint record. If you haven't heard Armoured Saint, worth checking out. And last year, Armoured Saint put out a live. One of these kind of went on tour featuring this album and did a live rendition of the album, which has since come out on as their last live album. So you can get this is the original studio pressing, or you can go and get the live version. They're both quite good. That's not my favourite Armoured Saint albums, but I find them very interesting anyway, and there's nothing wrong with them either. Anyway, yeah, Armoured Saint, Symbol of Salvation, 1991. Now this is an interesting one. It's a rather obscure British pop punk band called the Supernash Kids. There's the front. There is the back. There is the CD. And no booklet as such, just a single sheet card. I'll show it to you so you can see it a bit better. There's the front. There's the back there. Now, a pretty unremarkable young UK kind of pop rock band, pop punk band. Very much in the kind of, yeah, I say Green Day and trying to think some of the other examples. Green Day, My Chemical Romance, Good Charlotte, UK versions of all those bands, kind of thing. But the interesting thing is the lead vocalist on this one, guy called Rege someone Price or something like that. Anyway, I did look him up, but my head's just gone straight out of my head just so I'm about to speak about him. But anyway, Rege someone, and basically the guy had sort of like only had the band here as a bit of a side project. He was actually an actor, a thespian, and now he's kind of a Hollywood hunk. He's been in the Bridgerton, not a series I've ever watched, but apparently he's the heartthrob from there, as well as you know, various other bits and pieces he's been in, like in the UK, he's been through the sort of like standard Casualty and The Bill, etc. But anyway, yeah, this was their debut EP, came out in, yeah, I did look this up as well, 2007, 2008. The band carried on, did another EP and a full-length album before calling it quits in 2011. Although they've never actually broken up, it's just kind of one of these hiatus things. Oh, I meant to tell you what the album was called, yeah. There's Money Where Your Mouth Is. Yeah. Anyway, the band's kind of been on a long-term hiatus, so, you know, but, you know, when old Reggie, whatever his name is, gets sort of like, you know, now hugely famous actor, the charts have been going back to an obscure London pop punk band are very slim. But anyway, interesting one, and fans of Rege the actor may find this an interesting listen. Yeah, there's Money Where Your Mouth Is, the Supernash Kids. Okay, next up, dragged this, saw this way in the rack. Thought I had to bring it out purely because it's got one of my all-time favourite album covers on it. This is, of course, Asia's 1983 debut album, featuring the fantastic artwork of Roger Dean there, with the great sea serpent, with the mysterious glowing orb. Apparently, on the original concept sketches for the artwork, one of the band suggested a beach ball rather than a mysterious glowing orb, and Roger Dean prepared a sketch as such, and everyone went, no, that looks silly, so the mysterious glowing orb came back. Yeah, anyway, there's the front, there's the back. Whip this out. I did do this for the arm the same, but never mind. There's no inner sleeve or anything to this particular pressing or copy. There's the disc. No, just catalogue numbers around the run-out group. Now, just in case you don't know, which I imagine most of you out there will, but Asia are a good example of a successful supergroup. You know, supergroups can tend to do one great album and disappear, or yeah, a couple of great albums and disappear. You know, people like the Travelling Wilburys, etc. Not really work in the first place, such as GTR, or can actually come together to become a fine, long-serving band in their own right. Asia were one. Formed by Jeff Downes, former Buggles keyboard player, who had just left Yes after playing on the Drama album, wanted to put together a new project. He decided to recruit a few of the great and good. With Yes going on hiatus for a while, he got in Steve Howe from Yes on guitar. For drums, he just happened to bump into a guy called Carl Palmer, ex-Emerson, Lake and Palmer, and of course Atomic Rooster before that. And then to comply with the UK's 1976 Progressive Rock Performance Act, a UK law, when it came to bass and lead vocals, it had to be John Wetton. Yeah, the guy, legally, he had nothing to turn on. Now, of course, John Wetton, a joke, but John Wetton's kind of, turns up in lots of people, King Crimson, UK, Wishbone Ash. He's even played on Val Wow albums. But anyway, old John Wetton comes in on vocals and bass. And disappearing off to a studio somewhere, Townhouse Studios in London. They eventually cooked this up over the course of about 6 months. A storming record, probably the album that Asia's best known for, although, you know, they did have a 30-odd year career with various lineups and bring out some damn fine stuff. Just looking at the track listing on this would be, you got opening cuts, Heat of the Moment, Only Time Will Tell, Soul Survivor. 3 massive hits for the band. Followed up One Step Closer, The Fantastic Timing Again, Wildest Dreams Without You, Catting It Fine, Here Comes the Feeling. And, you know, when you realise there's on one of the B-sides, one of the singles, there's a track called, Not Ride On. But anyway, there's some of the B-side tracks that didn't make the album are absolutely superb as well. They're on these CD reissues, by the way. Mate, what a great album this is. You can argue that Asia never really quite got the formula right again after this album, although I might disagree because my favourite Asia album is 1985's Astra. But, horses for courses. But anyway, I love the music, I love the lineup, I love the production is first rate. Mike Stone, the producer, classic UK producer there, and of course Roger Dean's seminal artwork. What's there not to like? Asia by Asia, an absolute, for 1983, an absolute corker. 82, sorry. Okay, next up, here we go. This is an album called A Sea of Blues by David Marlowe. Bristol sort of bluesy singer-songwriter. There's the front. There is the back. Pop this open. Whoops, disc. There's the disc. It's still a home burnt job. A little note from Mr. Marlowe himself saying, hope you like the album, and I did. August 2004 this was recorded, and again there's a little inlay card just there, and there are a few album credits on. A nice soft acoustic one-man blues project. Got a guy called what's the guy's name? Andrew Cargill, who I'm not sure who he is, but lays a bit of additional guitar on here and apparently did some of the production work. But overall, most of it is Mr. Marlowe himself. Sweet, chilled out, relaxing album. Very, very good. Cuts like Heart to Redeem, Religion Blues, probably my favourite cut on here. Being a former Christian myself, I know how the guy feels. Title track, Talk, Showers and Lights, which is a song about village of Sheldon down in Devon, which is a beautiful little village and a beautiful song to talk about it. Sunny days, summer breeze, it's all great stuff. So David Marlowe still kind of bowing around the Bristol sort of like blues and acoustic singer-songwriter circuit. I haven't seen him live for ages, but I have, and he is very entertaining. Very much a kind of one man with an acoustic guitar in the corner kind of performer, but there's nothing wrong with that, providing it's done well. And David Marlowe does it really well. He has done a couple of other CDs. This is the only one of his I possess at the moment, but yeah, worth checking out. If you can find any of his CDs or his albums digitally, I'll go for it. Or if you ever get a chance to see him again, do so. You will not regret. Yeah, David Marlowe, Sea of Blues from 2004. Okay, next up, a bit of new wave of British heavy metal-ish. There we go. Demon, One Hell of a Night live in Germany. 1990, I believe. I'll double check in a minute. There's the front. There is the back. Opens up lustily. There's Demon themselves on a kind of rocky ruin of some place. Whether that's in Germany, I don't know. Recorded at the Ludwigsburg Rockfabrik on the 10th of December 1989. Pull this out. Put a porcupine cut on the run out groove, along with catalogue numbers, no interesting messages. There's the discs there, Sonic Records. Inner sleeves are thus. I think they're both the same, I'll double check. Yeah, they're all the same. Now, Demon, band that I absolutely worshipped and still do. An absolute band that can do no wrong in my opinion. One of the best of the new wave of British heavy metal acts. Did a couple of great kind of horror rock albums, Night of the Demon and The Uninvited Guest. Then went all prog metal and produced some great albums. The other week we looked at British Standard Approved, but you know, they did The Plague, one of the first ever progressive metal albums. Still going strong. Their most recent album, Cemetery Junction, came out about 3 years ago, and you know, they're still knocking out the ballpark every time we go in the studio. Like I said, blending kind of prog rock with kind of heavy, you know, British heavy metal kind of sensibilities. This is an album recorded on their German tour in 1989, in December the 10th at the Ludwigs Rockfabrik, and it's just a kind of rundown of some absolutely classic Demon stuff. This would have been to promote the Taking the World by Storm album, and indeed there's a selection of tracks off there: Blue Skies in Red Square, Commercial Dynamite, Life Brigade, Remembrance Day. Great stuff. But then on the other hand, you've also got some of their other sort of like greatest hits. You've got Blackheath, The Plague, from the Plague album. You've got Living in the Shadows, was it Hurricane, Big Chance, from all from oh, I can't remember. Yeah, from Breakout. Couple of tracks like One Hell of a Night, Night of the Demon. From Night of the Demon, you got A Sign of a Madman, Don't Break the Circle from The Uninvited Guest, and Wonderland from British Standard Approved. The only album not represented on here is Heart of Our Time, but you know, that's an album I never really kind of explored much live every time I saw them. But anyway, absolutely corking band on their height. Marks, to my opinion, this album marks the end of the classic Demon period. Don't like saying it, but the album that came after this, I can't remember what it was called, studio album. But anyway, was a little bit disappointing. And, you know, not bad, but just a kind of, you know, not really my sort of ring my bell that much. But this album here, absolutely classic, one of my favourite live albums of all time. And you know, as someone that saw Demon quite a few times back in the day, it brings back happy memories. Yeah, One Hell of a Night live in Germany, Demon, 1990, great stuff. Okay, next up, another band that's kind of no longer with us, this lot. It's a shame because these guys were great. Well, they are still with us, but I'll explain in a minute. Anyway, this is They Don't Change Under Midnight by Tiger Please. This came out in 2009, Walnut Tree Records. There's the front. There's the back. There is the disc. That's what lays behind the disc. And we have a booklet here with some lyrics and artwork. Now, Tiger Please, a band out of South Wales. I think it was Bridgerton. I may be wrong. Correct me if I am. But kind of alt rock, indie rock type band. Band that I saw live back in the back in the day, and absolutely kind of. I actually went to see the band, one of their support bands, a band called The Crave, who I was doing a little bit of a feature on for a BCFM show. And these guys were headlining. And absolutely blew me away. Absolutely storming band. And became a bit of a fan. They only ever released two sort of, well, this one mini album, Don't Change Under Midnight, and a fantastic 4-track EP called Seasons. Came out a couple of years later. And then the band changed their name to The People and the Poet, and kind of doing their own thing, but they kind of go around talking to people and writing songs about the stories that people tell. They become the poets that tell the people's stories, hence The Poet and the People. But yeah, and they're still doing great stuff. But you know, to me, The People and the Poet stuff's never really captured the fire that they had as Tiger Please. This is a I'll say there's actually 12 tracks on this album. There are only 6 are actual songs. The rest are little interlude pieces. And you know, cuts on here like Strawberry Moon, There's No Hero in Heroin, an absolute storming number. This side of this town, Without Country. It's just powerful stuff. Can't remember the name of the singer. What was his name? Leon Stanford, that's right, an incredible vocalist, an amazing frontman, and a brilliant lyricist. The rest of the band absolutely storming as well. Was it Tyler Campbell, Lou Morris on guitars, Jimmy Kendall on drums, Lewis Kendall on bass, Lewis Down on drums. Absolutely brilliant. They got a string quartet on here as well, doing a bit of kind of backing. and yeah, left behind a corking EP. So yeah, Tiger Please. They don't change under midnight. Absolutely barnstormer of an album. Might be a bit obscure these days, but worth tracking down if you get the chance. And People of the Poet are worth looking live. I've seen them live as well. They're worth a kind of check if you fancy. Okay, next up, something completely left field and off the wall. This is Let It Flow Freely, or Let Bother Litter Fear. I don't know, my Faroese is pretty shit. Anyway, this is Austria Johannesson. And this album dates from 2005. I have quite a few albums by Austria Johannesson. The guy is a bit of a genius. Anyway, there's the front. There's the back. Crack this open. There's Ossur with his bass guitar. Oh no, he's actually got a proper guitar there. Normally plays bass mainly, but there's the disc. Here's a booklet. And it's mainly, I've got some credits, but it's mainly pictures of Ossur with his recording rig up. He does his own artwork as well. Massive thanks to this. Yeah, now Austria Johannesson is comes from the Faroe Islands, and basically he's like an avant-garde Mike Oldfield. Sometimes he works in collaboration with other people. Sometimes in this album it's on his own. He's done a couple of albums that are just him and a bass guitar and a load of loop pedals, but he creates these superb kind of avant-garde rock soundscapes. It's verging on music concrete, but not using found sounds, using real instruments. And although I'll admit, hand on heart, it doesn't make for the easiest of listens, it makes for some damn interesting kind of audio experiences. This album, what was it? Let It Flow Freely is, oops, the daisy dropped it, is, in my opinion, one of his best. Zombie at the Madhouse Blues being the cut that jumps out at me as well, but there's also is it Save Christiana. A lot of this stuff is in Faroese, which is a kind of hideously complex Nordic language which I have no knowledge of whatsoever. So please bear with me if I don't actually tell you what a lot of these tracks are, because not all of them have got English translations with them. But overall, just makes for a great listen. His stuff is a bit of a cult figure. His stuff is available sporadically through download sites or on CD. But believe me, if you like it a bit left field, if you like it a bit strange and a bit experimental, and something that's a bit of a challenge to listen to, then Austria Johannesson is a bloke that's well worth exploring. Yeah, Austria Johannesson, Let It Flow Freely, from 2005. Okay, here we go. This next, Jethro Hotel, Under Wraps, 1984. There's the front. There's the back. Whip this out. inner sleeve, lyrics. There's the disc. You got all the information on that side of the disc, and a Jethro Tull logo on that side. Just a cat number on the run out groove. Now, this album is a bit of a controversial one amongst Jethro Tull fans. I was discussing this with Alien Slashing bass player Adge Pierce, who's a bit of a Tull nut, the other day, and yeah, this one tends to divide the Tull community. Some people like it. I think it's okay. Other people can't stand it. It's one of the couple of albums I did with keyboardist Peter Vettese, probably better known for his for being going on to become a member of Simple Minds, UK big sort of stadium Celtic rock band. But the rest of the Tulls on here. You've got Ian Anderson, guitar, vocals, flute, and drum programming. Yeah, there's a lot of electronic drums on this. Martin Barr on guitar and Dave Pegg on bass. Yeah, and it's a kind of like a lot of Tull's work. It's concept work. It deals with kind of Cold War paranoia, spies. You just you have to have a look at some of the tracks. There's Nobody's Car, Radio Free Moscow. Great cut called Later That Same Evening, which is about submarines servicing off Scottish coast to pick up agencies and agents and that kind of thing. The Saboteur, European Legacy. It's a good album. It's a million miles removed from the classic Tull sounds of albums like Aqualung, the Heavy Horses, etc. And Tull have never done anything quite like this ever since. Because this follows on, and I think this kind of maybe suffers in reputation for not only being a kind of a bit of a unique Tull album, they never really kind of followed on. Never really done anything quite like this before or since. And it follows on from Broadsword and the Beast, which is one of Tull's greatest works. But having said that, so it's not without merit. Some fine performances and some pretty good songwriting. I'll say if you're not familiar with Tull, or you are familiar with Tull and you haven't heard this album, try before you buy. But it's not as bad as some of the people make it out to be. Yeah, Jethro Tull, Under Wraps, 1984. Okay, next up we'll have this. This is a band called Liss Order, and a CD called Inner Island. There's the front. There's the back. Out on New Model label, Italian label. Put that in a minute. There's the disc. Pop out the booklet here. Better look at the artwork. There are the band. Lyrics mainly. And credits of course as well. And then also with this, press release. I'll hold this there, so if you do want to read it, you can pause and have a go. Okay, yeah, February 2010 this came out. Kind of grungy rock, Italian band. Now there's lots of good stuff, especially of late, coming out of Italy. The last couple of years have seen a real rise in the profile and quality of Italian music. But, you know, Italy's always had a bit of a good scene going on. You know, right back from the days when they had prog rock bands like PMF and Goblin were flying, this Premier Rock Xbox has always been there. You know, and then more recent years, you know, we've had bands like Bipolar Sluts and Venus Mountains, etc. And today it's exploded. But anyway, this lot from the island of Ischia, which is a small island off the coast of Italy, kind of in that kind of sort of like grungy post-rock vein, kind of Alice in Chains, Pearl Jam kind of vibe. Not really a kind of subgenre that I'm 100% into. I do tend to find that a lot of that stuff can get a bit pompous, but you know, these manage to avoid the pomposity trap and keep it fairly cool and listenable. Hits of maybe Queen of the Stone Age in here as well. That kind of ballpark. Anyway, cuts on here: Anus, Rasua, Blood on the Wheel, The Bitter Hail, Late Empire. All sweet songs. These are four guys that know how to turn a riff. They know how to construct a decent song. And yeah, 2009 they brought this out. I'm not sure if they did anything else. I should have looked them up, but I didn't. I forgot. Sorry. But anyway, but yeah, if you want to fancy giving them a dig out, feel free. And if anyone knows whatever happened to this order, you know where the comments are. An extra finger dance for you. Okay, next up, bit more prog rock. And those of us nervous disposition should look away from the screen now. So late, I've already shown you the cover. This is Still Life by Van der Graaf Generator. There is the front. There is the back. Whip this out. There we are. Not a first pressing, Charisma Blue label. 1976 the album came out originally. This is an 80s pressing. You can tell Charisma, the early 70s pressings have got a pinky red label for Charisma, and this has got the kind of blue label. No run out groove messages. Of course, Van der Graaf Generator, seminal UK prog rockers, formed late 1960s on the, you know, with the first wave of UK prog rock, along with bands like King Crimson and sort of like Atomic Rooster, etc. Uriah Heep. Just carried on throughout. They've gone on hiatus a few times, but still very much an ongoing concern. Did I show you the back? Yeah, well, it didn't. There's the back with the band and lyrics. But a band that's kind of took the kind of prog rock to the extreme. Yeah, a lot of bands can either go very twee and away with the fairies, or you know, disappear up their own backsides. Yes. But Van der Graaf Generator are probably one of the darkest bands you'll come across. These guys can scare most goths. I have it many years ago. I went out with this goth lass, and you know, she wouldn't let me play the Least We Can Do Is Wait to me cover albums, because there's a track on there called After the Flood that she said was actually disturbing. And this is a girl that used to sit around listening to Bauhaus and Fields of Nephilim, etc. Yeah, very, very dark, both lyrically, and there's a sinister sound of Van der Graaf Generator. A gloriously sinister sound. Don't get me wrong, I'm not knocking them for being a dark band. Everybody needs a bit of darkness. Everybody loves a horror film. And believe me, if you want a bit of prog rock and a bit of darkness in your life, Van der Graaf Generator can provide it in droves. This album, is actually one of the lighter ones, to be honest with you, having said all that. Although it does have things like the what is it? The Ossur on here. Well, I'll quote you some lyrics. The organ monkey screams as the pipe begins to split. He'll go through the dance routines just as long as he thinks they'll fit, just as long as he knows that it's a dance, smile or quit. Like the monkey, I dance to a strange tune, and when all those years have longed to lie with you, but having bogged myself down with a web of talk, quack philosophy, all this philosophy, and physically I've balked. Yeah, it's a dark album. They come from the songs come from dark places. I wouldn't really like to get into main man Peter Hamill's mind, but on the other hand, you know, if exercising his demons brings out music like this, then it's brilliant. Yeah, I recommend all Van der Graaf Generator stuff, to be honest with you. Still Life's as good as any. Personally, I think their best album is either Pawn Hearts, Least We Can Do, or God Bluff, but hey, they're all pretty sweet. Yeah, Van der Graaf Generator, 1976, Still Life. You have been warned. Okay, last CD for the day. And I think I might have looked at this on a very early episode of these, but I thought, why not? I played this the other day and I thought I'd give it another outing. This is from 2013, The Disappearing Humans by The More I See. There's the front. There is the back. Pop this open. Behind the disc, there is the disc. Yeah, it's all lyrics in there. Oh yeah, no, so there's the More I See themselves. Yeah. More I See, basically it's a band formed by Jizz Butt. If we don't know Jizz Butt, the legendary English kind of punky metal guitarist. Best known for his work with two quite culty bands. First, probably best known for his work with the Prodigy. Not really a band I'm into, but before then he was in the English Dogs, a band I am very much into. This is his one of his later side projects. It's still, actually his main project now, still going strong. This was their debut album as far as I can remember. They've actually got a few out since then, and a few years ago my band Alien Station had the great privilege of supporting them. Lovely bunch of lads, and yeah, really good live show. This album, which I think is their debut from 2013. No, this would have been around about the time we supported them, so yeah, I think it's their second album actually. It's pretty sweet. If you've heard the English Dogs and their kind of punk feel thrash metal, it's in that kind of vein. It's not very prodigy, there's not much dance in here. It's just kind of horns in the air, you know, kind of metal. Metal for mothers, maybe. Yeah, cuts on here. Alone you will enter, the morning of the melancholy, deadly sin, spirit of freedom, crossed over, the eye that offends. Come at you like big metal hammers, bludgeon your eardrums in, and you'll love every second of it. Yeah, I'm trying to think who else is on here. People I'm not sure I've probably met these guys, because it was around about the time this album came out we supported them. But Harry Wright on drums, James Closer on guitar and vocals, and Drew Marwick on bass. Tight lineup. And you know, if you've not come across the More I See, I recommend that you do. Good stuff indeed. Okay, next up, well, the last one, final vinyl, etc. Here we go. This is an absolute classic for all you thrash metal heads out there. This is The Dark by Metal Church. There's the front. There's the back. Don't think I've got any no cards on here or anything like that. No. No. Yeah, Electra Records. There's the disc. No, just catalogue numbers, etc. around the run out grooves. Now, Metal Church. I'm going to say generic US because I've completely forgotten where in the US Metal Church came from. I suspect California, but I'm no doubt wrong. But no doubt someone in the comments will tell me. But yeah, one of the sort of second wave of US sort of thrash metalers. You know, because the first wave being your Anthraxes and your Metallicas, etc. This lot was one of the second lot to come through. This album came out in, he says, trying to have a look, 1986. I think this was their debut full length. I think there might have been a EP or something before then. Again, correct me if I'm wrong. Metal Church are a band I don't know a vast amount about. Just the fact that they've done a couple of albums, of which this is one, and I can love it. Yes, it's kind of thrashy metal, but it's controlled. You know, I think the thrash needs to be fast, it needs to be kind of intense, but you to produce a really great album, you need to keep your hand on the throttle a bit. You need to kind of control your speed and your violence and give it a bit of light and shade. I mean, the classic band that do that are Onslaught, but Metal Church do the similar kind of thing. Highlights on here, I mean, the opening cut, Ton of Bricks, an absolute steamroller of a track, bludgeons your head in, and then it follows on, Start the Fire, Method and Madness, Over Your Dead Body, the second side opening up with the title cut, The Dark, which is a bit of a darker, slower number, but right through to the closing double header of Burial at Sea and Western Alliance. Just makes for a superb listen. You know, this is so metal, it's more metal than a big metal thing made out of metal. It's just great record. I love it. If you haven't heard any Metal Church, this is a damn fine place to start. Not all their albums are as good, but you know, when you've done albums as good as this one, who needs anything else? Yeah, Metal Church, The Dark, 1986. Oh well, that's it for this week. Not sure what's happening next because I've got a gig on next week with Alien Stashed In and a few bits and pieces and a friend visiting from Germany. So time's getting a bit of a premium. I will try and get something out if it's only kind of just a general kind of chat for 10 minutes or so. But there will be something coming out next Saturday, so tune in for that. If you liked what you've seen here, like and subscribe, and got to say that it's YouTube rules. And again, comments down below, down there on YouTube, over there on Facebook. Same as the information for the radio shows down there and over there. Finger dance, finger dance, finger dance, finger dance. Keeps me Mrs. Happy, that. I don't know. Anyway, what was I say? Yeah. Have you got any feedback on these albums? Did you actually see the Supernatural Kids with Reggie, what's his name, in the from Bridgerton up front? Yeah. Have you come across Austria Johannesson? If so, can you recommend any of his? Is there any other avant-garde Faroe Island multi-instrumentalists you care to talk about? Your experiences of Metal Church or the more I see. Anything you want to say? Any recommendations of bands I should check out? please let me know, and I'll see if I can get what I can do. But in the meantime, yeah. So all you guys on YouTube, all you guys on Facebook, loves you all. And until next week, peeps, I'm out of here. Bye. I'm doing one of those pause things like they used to at the end of what was it, Police Squad, whatever it was, Leslie Nielsen. Because they got the new card things up, so why not? Anyway, I am out of here now. Bye.